QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022 Bank Reconciliation Month Number 2 Checks and Account Decreases. Get ready because we bookkeeping pros are moving up the hilltop with QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. Here we are in our Get Great Guitars practice file, going through the setup process with the view drop down, the open windows list, left hand side, company drop down, home page to the middle, maximizing in the gray area, reports drop down, company and financial, balance sheet standard, customizing the balance sheet standard, changing the date range from 01/01/22 to 02/28/22. Second month, we're going through at the end of the second month, reconciliation, fonts and numbers, changing that font size, bringing it up to 14. Okay, yes please, and okay. So we're focused in on the checking account, doing our bank reconciliation, which we started last time, continuing on with this time. Going to the banking drop down up top, looking at the reconcile, and we have then the 228. We're looking at the 61,241.85, which is our beginning balance on the bank statement, as we see here, ending balance 101,590.05, as we see there. Continuing on, we have checked off last time everything that's on our bank statement into our books on this side. Now we're focused on the decreases to the checking account, closing the caret on the left hand side. To do that, as we go through this, remember that when we're looking at our checking these items off, we're going from the bank statement to our books, because everything on the bank statement should be on our books. Everything on our books will not be on the bank statement. The things that will be different will be the outstanding items. Also note that when we're looking at the decreases, if we actually have written checks, which we're kind of focused on here, then the dates are not going to be as useful because there could be a long lag between when we wrote the check and when it cleared. But we do have the added feature of the check number, which can be useful to help us identify the items as well as, of course, the amount. If they're electronic transfers, you will not have the check number. However, the date will be more useful in those cases because it'll be closer in time, because it won't take as much time for the bank to process the transaction, and you'll often have memos and whatnot, which could give you like the information with regards to the vendor or who you paid. All right, so we're going to go through these items. So the first one, notice it says here on 2/2, we paid this check, or this check cleared the 1012. So if I go back on over here, 1012 is right there. And so that was for the 37, that looks right. And notice again, this check, however, was written in our books last month. So it was an open item last month. It is now clearing this month. That might be a little funny until you get used to that concept. That's what we expect to happen, however, and you can see a couple more of these items that were written last month and cleared this month. If they were written last month and they had not yet cleared in the current month, then you start to get a little worried about the differences that are there. But you would expect then some of them to be a little bit outstanding and have that timing difference, that lag. So I'm just going to highlight this one. We're going to say let's make this one yellow. And now we're looking for on the 1010, the 410. So there's the 1010, the 410 above it. Notice it's a little bit out of order because when we entered it into the system by date, it goes from the 26th to the 30th. And when it cleared the bank, it didn't clear in that order if you order it by date. Now, you could also order this. Your bank might order it by check number, but less likely possibly these days due to the fact that many people don't have as many checks and they're electronic transfers. We could order our information by the check number, but again, that's less likely to be a useful tool given the fact that a lot of people are probably doing a significant amount of electronic transfers as well. So you could have those differences in the dates. And so then we're going to go to the next one, which was, let's make that one yellow first. Yellowfy it. It's been yellowfied. Now we're on the 1013 on the 185640. 185640. That looks good. Going back on over, yellowfy. We're going to yellowfy it. I'm going to do two at a time. We're going to get silly. We're going to get crazy. Do it two at a time. 200 and 130, 115 and 114. 200, 130, 115, 114. Two at a time have been done right there. The memory capacity to do that is astounding. So then we're going to say this one's a big number, so I can't do two at a time here. We got the 116, 135873. So 135873 on the 116. So the 116, the second one hasn't been checked off there because that's a later month. Now we got the 1080180. So 108018E. And so then I'm going to make that one. And then we got the 46877, 1021. That looks good. Almost done after the 1021. And then we've got the 185640, 1023. There it is. I see 1023. And then we're at 1080, 1024. So we can close this door after 1024. Okay, so then we're going to hit that one. All right, and then these last two aren't going to be there because those are withdrawals and the bank charges, and we didn't enter the withdrawals into our system. So we found everything except those last two items that are on our bank statement on the books. We have items on the books that aren't on our bank statement, and that's okay in general. Given the fact that those are going to be timing differences, we expect then these items to be clearing in the following month of March, which we can check due to the fact that we'll be doing the bank reconciliation possibly for the end of February in sometime in March, most likely. And we can then go right to the bank transactions online if we have the online transactions, which most people do, and verify that these have cleared. So the point of doing this isn't really to verify those items that haven't cleared so much as to see exactly what the difference is, so that if I know exactly what the difference is, I have validated all the transactions, making the transactions for cash more valid, and also the other sides of the transactions that are involved in the other accounts, including the purchasing cycle, the sales cycle, and the employee cycle. Now I have one check up top, this 500, that is more concerning because we wrote that on January 26th and it hasn't cleared for a whole nother month. That's not completely uncommon, but that's going to be more on our radar to say, ma'am, maybe that check is not valid or got lost in the mail or it's not going to clear or something like that. And then we'd have to go in and deal with that, possibly voiding that check at some point in time in the future. And as we do that, we got to be careful because we can't just delete the check, and we got to make sure that we void it in such a way that we don't mess up prior year transactions. We took a look at that, an example of a transaction like that, I believe, in the past. So in any case, that's going to be that. Now we got to add these last two because they're on the bank statement, but they're not on our books. So that's going to be the withdrawal and the bank service charges for the 520. That's what we're off by down here, of course. So we're going to go, all right, let's add those. I'm going to go right into my check register. I'm just going to go, let's go into the check register by going, let's lists drop down, chart of accounts, double click on the checking account. I'm going to close the caret for now, close the caret, and we're going to say this is as of the end of the month, 02/28/22, and no number. And the first one I'm going to say is a withdraw this time. Last time we had this draws, and that means that someone might have taken money out of like an ATM, for example. And if we're the bookkeeper, or even if it's our company and we are taking money out of the business just for cash, then we might want to make a rule for ourselves or our clients, try to make a rule and say, hey, look, I would like you to only do that if you're actually using it as a draw for your personal purposes. Then I can easily know where to go with it. If you're taking money out and you're spending it on business-related items, you're losing the audit trail, because then I don't know exactly what you spent it on. That's when you got to get the receipts and all that kind of stuff, which is a pain to do. And the fact is that if it's a legitimate business expense, we want the audit trail, because if we were to get audited by the government for taxes, because it would be a deduction, we want to have a valid audit trail. So you'd like to pay it with a credit card or an electronic transfer, something like that. And if it's a personal withdrawal, then it would be a personal kind of withdrawal. So we're going to assume this time it's a personal withdrawal. So let's say that's the case. If they just take money out, what are we going to do with it? We're going to say, well, it's going to be for the 500, and it's going to go not into an expense account this time, but rather to an equity account. QuickBooks gave us this draws account because we set up as a sole proprietorship. So it's going to give us that draws account, which is not going to impact the income statement. You could put a memo here. I won't put one for this time. And I'll say enter. And let's check out, open up the caret and see if that pops up as it should in the reconciliation. So in the reconciliation, we've got then the 500. There it is right there. check it off, check it, and then we've got the 20 for the bank service charges. Bank service charges, we're going to do that one. Back to the register, the checking register, and on the 22nd, let's close the caret. I just like saying close the caret. I don't really need to close it. I just like to say it, and I'm going to close it while I say it. So this is going to be then the service charges, $20, and I'm just going to call this bank service charges, and then enter. And so open the caret after closing the caret last time, and we're going to go into the check register, and this is going to be 20. There's the 20. Check it off, check it out, check it off. And there we have it. So now we're at the 0 down below. We have going through the process of reconciling. Next time, we're going to go to the reconcile because I want to review those reports as we do the reconciliation and save those reports next time. So at this point, I'm just going to leave right now. I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to come back in with a little bit of suspense here for the next presentation. Make sure to come back next time when we finalize the bank reconciliation and look at the report. But before we do, let's take a look at the trial balance because we did change one thing on the trustee trial balance down here. Trustee TB, as of range change 010122 to 022822. And let's customize up top fonts and numbers, changing that font on up to 14. Okay, yes please, and okay. So down below we had then the items that we put in place were the $20 bank service charge, which is here. So we made a change to that one, and we also made a change to the draws, which is in the equity side of things, would be on the balance sheet. In equity, there's the draws. Notice that would be on the balance sheet. If I go to the balance sheet in the equity section here, there's the draws. And then, of course, we had an impact on the cash account for those two transactions that we put in place to correct our books for items on the bank statement that were not included yet in our books.